Welcome to At the Tubies, my ongoing look at Tubi movies. If you're not familiar with Tubi, it's an online streaming site where you can watch movies. It's absolutely free. The problem with Tubi is sometimes, because of the fact they have so much material, it's hard to navigate. That's where we come in. I'm joined today with my co-host, Mormo Zine,
Hello.
and Rob Zombie Chick 420.
Hey.
And we're all Tubi enthusiasts. We're going to lead you down a good path here to 6 great movies. I'm going to start off. My first film tonight is a Japanese film called Battle Royal. It is a film that depicts a group of high school kids thinking they're going on a field trip, but they're actually being taken to an island to basically kill each other off. The plot of the movie is that there's not enough jobs to go around anymore. The graduating high school class has to kill each other off until there's one left, and then they get to move on into society and get a job. They don't know this, though. They keep this hidden from them their whole lives until they end up on this island. The Japanese government's behind it. They put these like metal necklaces around their neck that will blow off their head if they try to escape. They basically have them battle each other. Now, at first, the students, they don't want to kill each other. They've grown up friends their whole lives. But quickly, people start to group up and backstab, and things start to go pretty haywire, leading to a bloodbath of carnage. Most of the girls are depicted as they're in schoolgirl uniforms. Most of the guys are just your typical Japanese, white shirt kind of guys. And they have to violently kill each other one by one. One of my favorite aspects of this movie is there's a guy that he's not even supposed to be there. He wanted to join up because he's kind of like suicidal and doesn't give a fuck. He's been there before, and he just instantly starts killing off all the Japanese kids, collecting their weapons. That's the other thing. Every person gets one type of weapon. Like you might get a bow and arrow, or you might get like a grenade, or you get a weapon to use. And then when you kill them, you take their weapons. So this guy had like everybody's weapons and was just like going ham on the whole fucking place. It has a really weird ending. I'm not sure if it's just something it's going over my head, but I would say the whole movie is worth watching. It's a great film. It's a cult classic, and it's free on Tubi.
Right on, Grady. I saw Battle Royale on VHS when it was new, like when it first came out, and loved it. And then years later, my mom became a big fan of the Hunger Games, and which basically has the same plot as Battle Royale. I showed my mom Battle Royale, and she couldn't watch it because of all the violence, but so she didn't like it at all. It's
Too
Hunger
violent.
Games is very similar to Battle Royale, I think.
Oh yeah, I often wonder if it's not a ripoff. I mean, I know it's based on a book, so I'm not sure when the book came out. I know they were making a lot of Japanese movies into American films at the time when I first saw it, like Ringu and The Grudge. And I was thinking there was no way they could ever make a Hollywood film because it depicts they're all basically adults. They're probably adult actors. I don't know. They don't look like little kids or anything, but still, they're high school kids being depicted as being slaughtered, in mass. I mean, it's hard to envision like a mainstream Hollywood film. And then I heard about the Hunger Games, and I've never seen the Hunger Games, by the way, but I've heard the plot line, and I was like, wow, this is exactly like
I
Battle Royal.
I have seen Hunger Games. I do enjoy the Hunger Games movies, but I've never seen Battle Royale. And if it's basically like Hunger Games but more brutal, then I'll probably definitely check it out.
That's basically what it's like more
Oh, I'll
gory.
definitely watch it then.
Yeah, they don't want to fight each other, so they got these necklaces on, and they have these zones. Like at first, they try to stay away from each other because they're scared of each other, but they start setting this zone that if you go outside the zone, your head will blow off, right? And they like slowly make them like get closer and closer together to where they just have no choice but to fight each other. It's a great film. I highly recommend anyone checking it out, especially for free on Tubi.
Do they
Wait,
have any of the sequels on Tubi or? Yeah, Battle Royale 2 Requiem 2003.
You can watch the whole series there. I haven't seen part two myself. I don't think any of us have. The reason I haven't watched it is I've heard bad things about it, and I love the original so much. I don't want anything to
Yeah.
taint it. It's got
And he,
several people in it that ended up in Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill. Apparently, when he was making Kill Bill, he was watching this movie, and he got a few of the actors. One of them, I forget her name, but she's the girl that has the ball that's in the schoolgirl outfit. She's in this movie in a big role, and she's fantastic in it.
I'm definitely gonna check it out probably tonight because I'm gonna probably be up the whole night. But that's something I definitely want to check out. It definitely had, like I say, it basically is like the Hunger Games but more brutal. So yeah, that's definitely something I would probably enjoy for sure.
Yeah, you'll love it. It's a great movie.
And what year did it come
Super
out?
violent. It's from 2000.
Yeah, it's a very well shot film. I forget who the director is, but I think he's a pretty respected director. So I mean, it's a very high quality film. It's not like a shitty B movie or something, but it is a Japanese foreign film. All right, Mormo, what's your pick?
My first pick is going to be a Hong Kong crime comedy called Winners and Sinners. It's basically starts off with all these Asian guys and they're all criminals and then they get caught and they all get thrown in jail. And while they're in jail, they form a partnership. When they get out of jail, they become a cleaning business, like a janitor business. But eventually they get mixed up with like the Yakuza and stuff. Jackie Chan's in it and Sammo Hung is in it. Sammo Hung directed it actually as well. Sammo Hung is like a action fat guy. He's this big fat guy who is like really good at karate and kung fu and stuff, and just a big fat guy who kicks ass. And I've always been a huge fan of Sammo Hung. He's great in this movie. Jackie Chan is great in this movie. There's some awesome stunts that Jackie Chan stunts, like him roller skating on a freeway.
Does it have Rush Hour vibes?
Yeah, I'm sure it does. It's got Jackie Chan, and it's like five guys that all used to be criminals, but then they got caught, and then they tried to go legit as janitors, but they get caught up with the Yakuza and stuff, and like it's like printing money. They get caught up in a counterfeiting money scheme.
Yeah, I haven't seen this film, but I'm going to check it out because I'm a big Sammo Hung fan myself. I know the guy from, he used to have a TV show on CBS, I think, called Martial Law.
Yeah.
And that's where I know him from. And, I was just flipping through the channels one day and I saw a big fat Chinese guy just kicking ass. And I kept watching, and I later learned he was a big Hong Kong film star, and I've seen a few of his films, but I haven't seen this one. I actually thought I read that Jackie Chan and Sammo Hung did not get along well. They were rivals, but I guess maybe if he's starring in a Sammo Hung movie, that's not correct.
Yeah, well, this movie was like made in '83, I think, so it's pretty old. And it's more of a comedy than an action movie. A lot of the comedy is like very dated because this movie is so old, and plus it's like cultural comedy that like maybe would make sense just to like somebody who grew up in America or something, but it's still a really entertaining movie. It is pretty funny and it's got a great cast, and I highly recommend checking it out. Winners and Sinners.
I like Jackie Chan. Like I like him in the Rush Hour movies, so I'll probably enjoy it.
All right, Rob Zombie Chick 420, what is your pick?
My pick it's an interesting pick. It's not a movie. It's a documentary series. It's called Dark Side of the Ring. And the entire like series is on there. Like all the seasons are on there, I believe. So if you want to check out the entire series, it's on there. But basically Dark Side of the Ring is basically the name says. It's basically talking about wrestlers in the industry or stuff that's happened in the wrestling industry that's been bad. Like it's been dark usually. And usually every episode, like there's been episodes where I cried. But the episode I'm going to be talking about is the very first episode of Dark Side of the Ring called The Match Made in Heaven. It's basically talking about the marriage and the partnership between Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, and Miss Elizabeth. It's one of the best episodes of the series, being the first episode. I don't know if you've all seen Dark Side of the Ring or not.
I haven't. I think I starred in a spoof of Dark Side.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Yeah. In this episode, basically, like it talks about the marriage of the Macho Man Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth, and how it turns into a really dark slope. Like it gets really bad, and Macho Man was very protective of Elizabeth. Like he was like he was always going like if anybody gawked at Miss Elizabeth or even tried to even get near her, like he'd be like, "Get the fuck away from her, you son of a bitch!" Like Randy Savage was just like he was very protective. He was very like you came, be out of my sight. And Miss Elizabeth just got fucking tired of it. She was like, I'm going. She basically went to Florida to get away from Savage. Basically, Savage was saying basically Hogan was the reason why Elizabeth left and all this. And basically, then they had a big falling out between Hogan and Savage, and it was just crazy. And when it gets really dark is when Miss Elizabeth ends up hooking up with Lex Luger. And and basically Miss Elizabeth ends up overdosing, dying in 2003. So like I said, it's a great episode, really sad ending on Miss Elizabeth's part.
Yeah, I have seen Dark Side of the Ring. I think I binge watched the first 2 seasons back when they came out, and I haven't seen any of the newer ones. I love that show. I mean, they're all very good quality episodes. I've seen the Miss Elizabeth Macho Man one. They have a few documentaries about them that I've seen, and I think that's my favorite one. A lot of these documentaries, they paint Macho Man as being this horrible asshole that was like really dominating over Miss Elizabeth. Look what happens when she gets away from him. She's dead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some people need somebody there to like, maybe you don't know what the story is there. You know what I mean? Like, was he dominating her, or did he have to dominate her because she was just so wayward? You know what I mean? It seems like the
Right.
latter to me. I came away thinking Macho Man wasn't as bad as they were trying to make him out to be because
No.
he didn't want Miss Elizabeth to die, and she ended up dead. Of course, he ended up dying anyway himself a few years later.
But in the same way, I don't know how Macho. I'm sure Macho's done drugs. I mean, it's fucking Macho Man, but I think he knew how to control it and shit. But she was on the other wild side. Like she just did so much and just it took her away, sadly. And a lot of it has to do with like Lex Luger. Lex Luger giving her the drugs and shit. And I think he went to jail, but he's out. Of course, he's out now which I'm shocked that he didn't get life, honestly,
What did he go to jail for?
for the death of Miss Elizabeth.
Oh, really? I guess they got him for supplying the drugs, or did they say he murdered her somehow? Or
They said he murdered her by giving her the drugs and all that, but like it's a really hard thing to like with Lex Luger. Like some people say he should rot and he's a terrible person and blah blah, but he's changed. He's in a wheelchair now.
it's a pretty messed up story, kind of a downer. But it reminds me of the current situation with like Britney Spears. She's in that conservatorship or whatever, and everyone's blaming her family, saying that they're trying to hold her down. And she's out of that now, and she's had nothing but problems. She's in the news all the time for doing something fucking weird, and you can almost see something bad's going to happen to Britney. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's probably a reason why her family's trying to, hold her down because they don't want her to die.
With Mach, he was like blaming a lot of it on Hogan, getting like basically her getting like moving out or leaving or whatever, taking off, and Macho was like, I know Hulk Hogan. I know you're gonna fucking take my woman. That's why she like. He was always like thinking Hogan was gonna take his lady and some shit because he had the bigger bucks in Macho Man and shit. Check this episode. I say check out the whole series. It's definitely worth a watch. I binged watched the entire series. I haven't watched any of the newer episodes. Oh, I take that back. I did watch the first episode of the new season. But yeah, a lot of them are on Tubi. So if you want to check them out, highly recommend it. It's a great series. The Vice guys have done the Dark Side of the Ring. They're great. They're probably one of the best people to do a documentary series on anything. Like they're really good at what they do for sure.
I was in a spoof of Dark Side of the Ring, but I think that footage is lost now, sadly.
Dark Side of the Ring is back. Hello,
everyone. You all know me as Mormo Zine. I started wrestling in 1922 as Long Dick Dom. Things were going good. I was making the money. Jim Cornette was my manager. And then that bitch Tammy Search stole my Dr. Pepper, so I fucking powerbombed her on top of a bus. About Your Man was jealous in my career, talking about Shawn Michaels.
Evil from us deliver, but temptation into not us lead, and us again.
That is the sound of a train, but that's actually the sound of a prison sex train being ran on Johnny Cash.
Probably, I heard a rumor that when you sign a record label, you sign your contract in blood, and then they say, go in that room over there. They bend you over a table, and the whole record label comes in to runs a train on you.
Here at Mormo International, we love our fans. They are the most intelligent, passionate, and fiercely independent individuals on this planet. That's why we strive to bring them the very best of underground entertainment in movies, music, magic, and zines. We realize that concepts like making a profit and breaking even are old-fashioned. That's why you will receive our products for little to no charge. So join Mormo on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, and always remember,
ours the magic, ours the power.
All right, for my next film, I picked Zombie Ass. Zombie Ass is a really weird movie. I first saw it about 10 years ago. I forget where I saw it at, and I couldn't believe what I was watching. It's basically about a bunch of Japanese high school people, I think. They're girls and boys. They go out to a lake, and the reason they're going out there is because one of the girls wants to be a supermodel, and she heard there's a parasite in the lake that she could swallow that would keep her weight down. So a couple of the girls swallow the parasite, and they quickly start having stomach issues like projectile diarrhea and a multitude of other things, gurgling sounds, farting.
Oh my God, there's so much fucking farting in this movie.
There's some kind of scientist, he's developed something and some kind of serum, and he's developing these zombies, and I think somehow the parasite that the girl ate got infected with it, and when she ate it, they got infected with this zombie parasite virus. Everybody starts shitting their fucking ass off, you know? And literal shit zombies start coming up out of the outhouse at the lake, and chaos ensued. I mean, it's an incredibly fucked up film. I personally think it's extremely funny, but I don't think it's shot to be funny. I think it's basically a Japanese fart fetish film. And as you see, lots of schoolgirls just farting, lots of shit flying everywhere, lots of gore. But the gore is like that kind of like really bad CGI blood, so it's not really that. If you don't like really gross shit, it's not that bad. As far as the gore goes, if you don't like really gross shit like hot chicks farting into the camera nonstop, then this movie is not for you, because it's just a big fart fest of shit and zombies, and it's unlike anything I've ever seen, and I highly, highly recommend watching it.
I know I've seen this. I'm not sure when or where or with who, but I'm pretty sure I have seen this one.
I recently watched it because Grady's like, you gotta watch this. You gotta watch this for the show. I'm like, all right. So I watched it, and I'm like, holy shit, this movie is fucked up. Like everything from the effects. The effects are amazing. They're really good.
I spent quite a while trying to find this streaming somewhere because I didn't want to buy a physical copy. I did break down and actually pay for this a few years ago to show a friend of mine because, you know, it's that good. Look, is it the best movie you're ever going to see? No. But it's highly, especially within the realm of the zombie films, it's highly original. I mean, there's nothing like it that I can think of. And it's just so bizarre to see these
Yeah.
schoolgirls like farting their asses off and fighting these shit zombies. There's shit everywhere, and I mean, at one point the main character starts. I think she actually defeats the zombies through the power of her farts. I think she's like farting and she starts flying around in the air and stuff. I mean, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's so ridiculous, but it's entertaining at the same time. Like this, if you try to take this movie seriously, you're not gonna have fun with it. But I laughed my ass off. I was just like, what the hell?
All right, well, definitely if you have a strong stomach and a bad sense of humor, check out Zombie Ass. I think you'll have a great time. I think it's one of those movies where it might be good to watch it with a bunch of friends and just laugh your ass off. Okay, Mormo, what is your next pick?
My next pick is called VHS Massacre. It's actually a trauma film that's on Tubi. It's about like VHS getting replaced by DVD. And I think it was filmed in 2012 and then released in 2016. But it talks about video stores going out of business. And I guess people are saying that it like predicts the end of physical media, basically. Joe Bob Briggs was in it. Debbie Rashawn was in it. It was really good.
Is this an actual movie or is it a documentary?
It's a documentary. Yeah, that's one of the things I love to find on Tubi are these like specialized documentaries about what I'm most interested in at the moment, filmmaking. And I think last week or the week before that, I was talking about a documentary about an independent filmmaker. This was a documentary about physical media and stuff. I don't know. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I remember the VHS days. I had probably 100 VHS titles. What happened to me was I was moving one day. I had a big horseshoe magnet. I basically threw that into the same box as my VHS tape,
Oh no.
not knowing that it basically just erased all my fucking tape.
Damn.
DVD it just came out. Otherwise, I probably would be one of those like freak VHS collectors because I had so many. You know what I mean? I'd be hauling them around with me, but I basically had to throw them away because they were worthless because they got blanked by this magnet after I stupidly threw it into this box of VHS tapes I had. But that's one of the things I don't miss about VHS.
Yeah. Magnets, how do those work?
They're magic.
Yeah, the documentary sounds really good, but like I like the talk about like places like rental stores going out of business and like it's because we had one over in the downtown area, and it probably went out of business like last year or something like that.
Personally, I really liked DVD over VHS. I mean, I like 16 by 9 presentation for one thing. I mean, most of the VHS, I know they started having those like special like letterbox edition VHSs or towards the end where you could like change the aspect ratio on your TV and watch them at 16 by 9. I've got probably 500 Blu-rays. I specialize in collecting like really fucked up B movies that have been highly restored because that just always blows my mind. Somebody would like restore some of these films and they look fantastic. They look brand new, Really crazy how much a restoration can do for a film. You have a huge VHS collection, don't you, Mormo?
Yeah, I got a pretty good size VHS collection.
Didn't you buy like a Hollywood Video going out of business store or something? Like bought all their VHSs or something?
No, I used to own a lot more VHSs. One time I bought a box of 50 Trauma VHSs and it had other movies in it, like it had Deadbeat at Dawn on VHS, but it had tons of like Trauma VHSs, and I think I just sold them all, and now I got a pretty good size VHS collection.
I was into VHS tapes for a little bit. Like I was buying them off eBay, and then I just got rid of them all. I wish I didn't.
The one cool thing about VHS is that there's still a lot of films that haven't made it to the digital era. that you can only find on VHS.
For sure.
So yeah, there's a lot of films out there that will probably only ever be on VHS. I always kind of think about getting a VHS player, and because there's some films out there I want to see that probably will never be restored.
And there's some films that are just better on VHS, I think, like The Blair Witch Project, Lake Placid, American Pie. They're just way better on VHS.
Yeah, I watched The Ring 2 on VHS, which is about a haunted VHS tape. So it was like way more scary to watch that movie on VHS, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm honestly surprised that VHSs haven't or VHS tapes haven't made a big comeback like in stores and shit, like records have.
I've noticed lately there's been these boutique labels are starting to put out VHS copies, limited amounts of some of their releases. There definitely is still a market out there for VHS collectors, just not that many. I mean, I think it's hard to even find a VHS player at this point.
And the one I had, I got off eBay.
Yeah, my Blu-ray player does everything. It's 4K, DVD, CD-ROM, The only thing it doesn't do is a VHS.
That'd be fucking killer if it.
That would be awesome. And they really should put
I'm
something out like that,
I'm surprised nobody has, like, no companies put out like a multiplayer thing that plays, like, if somebody would create something that can play VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, and all that, that'd be fucking, I'd buy that.
All right, Rob Zombie Chick, what is your next pick?
My next pick is a film I've never seen until yesterday, and that's Wishmaster. Now, I've heard about the film. I've seen, like, clips and everything. I'm like, well, let me check this out. And I loved it. I thought it was really good. The effects are mind-blowing, and I'm surprised that this character, Wishmaster, has never gotten, like, any more, like, popular or any more, like, a newer movie or anything. It just blows my mind because the first movie is amazing. I haven't seen any of the sequels. There's, like, 3 other sequels, and they're all on Tubi. So if you want to check out the Wishmaster movies, they're all on Tubi.
That sounds like that would be a great binge to watch all 4 Wishmaster movies. That would be awesome.
Yeah, the plot of Wishmaster is basically like when these people make wishes, it sets off in like an ancient time. It's a very old timeline for the very beginning of it, like Egyptian kind of. They basically make these wishes, and it turns like once you make these wishes, like it basically fucks you up tenfold, basically. Which I think is very interesting. Like, okay, you can wish for like the best things that could happen, but you end up getting screwed at the end. Like that's basically the plot. You make these wishes, you're gonna be paying the piper, basically.
Wishmaster is one series that escaped me. I would always see it at the video store, and for whatever reason, I never watched it. I think just because the title, Wishmaster, sounds kind of whimsical or something. If it was Deathmaster, I probably would have rented it,
That would have been a better name, honestly. Deathmaster would have been a way better name.
Have you seen it, Mormo?
I have. I think I saw it on the big screen, actually.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
I remember seeing a couple of the sequels, too, on VHS. And do you know what year it came out?
I believe 90s. Somewhere in the 90s it came out.
Yeah, it seems like I probably saw it on the big screen.
Like then everybody talks about like the 90s horror film, like it's like the dead decade of horror movies, because it's like a lot of people say like, okay, the big horror movies that came out in the 90s was Scream and probably the Blair Witch Project, but you don't really hear about any other 90s horror movies besides those two. But I think Wishmaster is definitely one of those forgotten horror films, and a really good one that came out in the 90s that people just seemingly just forgot about.
Yeah, I mean, it had a lot of sequels, so I'm assuming they must have been successful on some level.
I think the Wishmaster 2, 3, and 4 were just direct to DVD, sadly.
Yeah, I would always see them at the rental stores. It seemed like there was a new Wishmaster popping off next to the latest Howling every other month, it seemed like, but...
I say definitely check out the first Wishmaster, if anything. You don't have to check out the other sequels, but they're all on TV, so I still need to watch the other sequels myself, but the effects alone are worth watching this movie. Some of the effects are just fucking mind-blowing for that time period, like just the gore and you wouldn't think it'd be that crazy with the gore, but they really nail it with it in Wishmaster. Like, I got to give the movie credit for that. They really nailed it with that.
All right, there you go. 6 more movies for you guys to check out on Tubi. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you have any comments, like you want to suggest some movies, put it in the comments below. Let us know what you think. Mormo Zine, Rob Zombie Chick 420, thank you for joining me today. So until next time, we'll be seeing you at the Tubi.